beep, 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 beep. What you're running from? What you're running from? Yeah. Happy Wow Wednesday. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. And we are live. Hello, peoples. We are on Wow Wednesday. Tonight's topic is what you're running from. And you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say, have you ever noticed how the things that scare you the most are the things that you avoid the most? Seriously, did you seriously? I mean this in no disrespect to anybody like that, but the things that we delay usually are because we're scared of them. We're scared of the outcome. We're scared of trying and somebody making fun of us. Scared of what if we fail? Scared of something. And usually it's not even dangerous. I mean, there's really two types of fear out there. There's a good fear and a bad fear. A good fear is a kind of fear where you're standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon without a harness on, and you're kind of leaning over the edge looking over. That should be fearful. And a bad fear is sitting in the waiting room to interview for that all-time job that you've been wanting. Good fear is standing there watching as a newborn baby is attempting to crawl, and he walks towards, or he crawls towards the edge of the stairs, towards the edge of the balcony. And a bad taekwondo.
It's after 9:30.
I know he left his phone here. I put it on his desk. And a bad fear would be, a fear of going to the gym and working out because you want to lose weight, because you're afraid of what people are going to say. See, a lot of times we're afraid of things and they're not even dangerous. We're just afraid of them because they're destiny heavy, because they're going to change our life. I know this is, I go through that too. We all do. We're afraid to try and apply to that job that we're curious about, because what if we get it? Or we're afraid of trying and starting the business that we want to start, because what if it fails? What if it succeeds? Or we're afraid of trying and going to the doctors because something's wrong. We don't know what, but we're afraid to go to the doctors because, well, what if it's the worst? So instead of going there and getting our, feelings taken care of, we just procrastinate and we wait. And you know what? A lot of times, the things that we're running from is the very thing we need to actually stand up and do. Out in the prairies, when the storms come, all the animals cower and hide. They run for cover, or they run away from the storm. Except, you know what they found out? Bison. They're a pretty big thing. They don't run from the storm. They don't stampede from the storm. They run towards the storm. And the reason behind that is because when you run towards the storm, well, let's go the other way first. When you run from the storm, sort of like, have you ever tried and been driving on an expressway and there's a storm behind you? And it finally catches up to you? And it seems like you're forevermore in that storm for the whole drive. That's because the storm is with you. It's following you.
Dad,
What,
do you
babe?
think this bike looks cool? It's
Yes,
a
it
real
does.
mountain bike.
Yep.
I told Mom to sell my old one and give it to somebody, and I'll get this one for Christmas.
Okay.
I want you to put it together, though. How about we take it camping?
It's not even Christmas in July yet. Relax.
Well, I don't want to go camping yet, but I just want the bike so I could have extra suspension,
Okay, babe.
and so I could ride on trails so it doesn't be like in case I like flip over the bars like other kids where they don't have
Okay.
suspension.
I'm doing my live, sweetheart. So, so what happens is as you're driving, the storm is following you, and you end up being in a storm a lot longer than you anticipated. Now, bison, on the other hand, they tend to run towards the storm because as the storm's coming this way and they're running this way, they hit the storm and they run right through it, which means they're in the storm a lot less than if they're running away from the storm. So, I'm just going to try to say that sometimes our upbringing to run and hide from storms isn't necessarily the right idea. See, when we were growing up, I grew up running from responsibility. All right. I I would try and skirt away and focus entirely on what I had to get done on a computer, leaving to the last minute all my schoolwork or whatever. I guess I felt I was, borderline genius. Pat myself on the back on that one. I had all A's in high school and grammar school. And so I didn't focus on getting the work done what I needed to. But you know what? I didn't know it then, but I wasn't running from danger. I was running from the identity that I had because I was focusing on other personal projects and I ended up getting stupid with something and I ran from identity, lost my identity more or less, and I ended up losing a scholarship. I ended up getting kicked out of school. And those things there made me realize that there are some consequences we get for just avoiding doing the things that we need to do, that we don't escape them. See, that's when we realize that avoiding the things that we're assigned to do doesn't really work with your life because your life will always cycle back and push you into that. And that's where it's like, you know what? I was avoiding being a leader. I was avoiding discipline. I was avoiding purpose. I was avoiding influence at that time by focusing entirely on hanging out with my friends, playing computer games, skirting the issues at hand. When in actuality, I ended up getting a bronze congressional award in high school. I went to a statewide science fair in high school. I got an MIT scholarship in high school, but I threw it all away because I didn't want to go down that road. I was running from something greater at that point because I was afraid of what if. Now, some of you are running from things that you're afraid of too. You're running from starting that business that you know you should start. Or you're running away from having the conversations with the people in your life that you know you need to have where they are overstepping their boundaries that you set up for yourself, where you feel like you're being used by them. Or perhaps, or perhaps you're running from the discipline that you need to build to go to the gym, work out every day, or read a book to help work on your mindset, or focus on your business ideas, or focus better on your work ideas. You see, some of us avoid the healing that we need to face by running away from it. And all you're doing is postponing your dreams. You're postponing the version of yourself that you're actually scared to meet. You're postponing the future that you dream of because you're afraid to take that step. You're afraid to take that move. You're afraid to get up and try something different. Because, see, you're not running from the actual task. You're running from the transformation. It's like dealing with teenagers. I mean, I hate saying it like that, but it's like, I'll give my son, for example. Bright boy, strong like bull. You tell him, hey, get this done. All right, in a minute, Dad, in a minute, Dad. 4 hours later, I'm still yelling at him about it. And he grabs at me that I'm yelling at him. Dude, I told you to get it done 4 hours ago. Where are you going, camera? Where? Thank you. Stay. And and he gets upset at me because I'm yelling at him. And I'm like, dude, I said do it some time ago. Had you done it 20 minutes ago or two hours ago when I first told you, it'd be done and you'd have the whole evening to yourself. You wouldn't have to hear me crab. Yeah. Or my daughter, when I told her to take all these boxes out and throw them in the trash because we just gotten a huge shipment of cameras and I broke all the boxes down and I got it all. I broke it all down. I had it all in a nice pile. All she had to do is take them out to the trash can. She procrastinated on it. A day goes by, 2 days go by, 3 days go by. We got more boxes. And now we got this big, huge mound of boxes in the living room. And I'm like, it would have been a smaller mound if you had taken it the first day. Because, see, when you take small bits and pieces at a time, it's not so overwhelming. But she's crabbing about how many boxes there are. I'm like, it would have been the same amount of boxes had you taken them out the first day, the second day, and third day. Except now you have to take them all out at once. Instead of spending 5 minutes or 30 seconds a day, now you have to spend 5 minutes for a whole day to try and take them out. See, we're not running from the task, we're running from the transformation. And when I say the transformation, the job of getting it done, get it done and over with, and it's you've got the time to yourself. Start that business. You'll never know if it's going to succeed until you try. Have those hard conversations with somebody. You'll never know what they have to say about it until you speak up. And I don't mean to say anything bad about some of the other people I know, but there are some people I know that are really close to me that they assume everybody reads their mind. You have a conversation and a couple days later, they get upset at you and it's like, well, what happened? Well, you should have known this. Should have known what? Well, that this is how it's supposed to be. Nobody talked to me about how it's supposed to be. Because the conversations need to be had. Sometimes you need to try and talk about it. And when you talk about it, it opens up the doors for so many things. It opens up so much easier to take and set. Hey, buddy, you all right?
Yeah, fine.
All right.
Sure, call me.
Yeah, and I realized your phone was in the kitchen.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I was worried about you.
I was at the gym. I was talking with Draven.
Okay.
I'm taking a day off tomorrow. I don't care what mom says. I'm taking a day off tomorrow.
Go make your money. You'll be fine. Go to sleep. You'll be fine.
No, I'm taking a day off tomorrow. I don't care what anyone says.
All right. Anyway, so the hard conversations that you need to have will open up clarity, will open up transformation for you and your friend or your coworker or your family. That discipline you have to go to the gym on a daily basis, even when you don't feel like it, it's going to open up the transformation you're going to have. The healing you need to face from that traumatic experience, from that breakup, from that betrayal. got to stand up for it. You got to outlast it. You don't have to like it. You just got to try and deal with it. I'm talking about, and welcome for joining us, Mimi King. I'm actually talking about, our topic tonight is about what you're running from is what you're usually called to do. And so that's one of the things that we're talking about is that usually people procrastinate on the hard things that they don't want to do, but they have to do it. They have to get it done. And usually by getting it done, their life changes. So like for instance, somebody who wants to start a business but is afraid to, because what if they fail? What if they succeed? Or having a hard conversation with a family member that betrayed you, or that oversteps their bounds all the time, that always expects you to do for them, or expects you to try and jump over backwards, or expects you to open up the door and let them do whatever they want to do whenever they want to come over. And so sometimes you got to have that hard conversation. And sometimes people are afraid of going after their dreams because when they've gone after them in the first place, something happened in their life that pushed them back. Maybe perhaps something traumatic. Maybe they failed at their first business. Maybe they got fired from a job that they really, really loved, and they're afraid to go after their dream job again, because what if they fail again? What if they get fired again? What if they get laid off again? And so a lot of people tend to procrastinate and avoid going after the things that they're really called to do, because they're afraid of the version of themselves that they're afraid to meet. And that's where I was saying that most people are not running from the task, the job at hand. They're running from the change itself, the transformation they're going to experience. Because say, for instance, you decided to start your own business. All right. But yet for the last couple of years, you've been thinking about it, toying with it. And I don't know, what if I fail? What if you fail? But what if you succeed? What if the next idea, your business idea, is the next thing? I mean, check this out. Some crazy guy back in the 1970s decided to put a bunch of googly eyes on a rock and put it in a box and sell it for $1. He called it a pet rock. The guy's a millionaire. I live by train tracks. I could be a millionaire. All I got to do is put some googly eyes on a rock and box it. But see, some people are afraid to do just that, because what if it fails? But that's where we change our mindsets. We change our mindset from what if it fails to what if it works? See, there's a quote out there that you can't please everybody all the time, and you can only please some of the people some of the time. And some of the people you'll never please. Thank you very much. But the point is that somebody out there might need your idea. Because I'm not going to go all Christianity on you, but you know what? Life gives us a purpose. We're here for a purpose. Whatever God you may believe in gave you a dream. And it's in you. It's the thing that keeps you awake at night. It's the thing that you keep coming back to. When you try and do something and you fail, and you sit there at the end of the day, and it's like, you start daydreaming about the one thing that you really truly like. You know what? Yeah, make a YouTube channel. A lot of people do that. And you know what? So many different people play games. I used to play EVE Online. I love EVE Online. I'll be honest on that one. All right. I've actually had 3 alliances with EVE Online. And well, I joked that I won the game because I actually got out of the game. I've still got probably a couple trillion in ISK value of assets and crap like that out there. But you know what? Not everybody likes EVE Online. Some people like World of Warcraft. Some people like Civilization 6. Some people like Fortnite. Some people like GTA. Some people like Minecraft. And that's what I was trying to say is that you might not be for everybody, but you are for somebody. Somebody out there will want to watch your YouTube channel. Somebody out there will want to see the game that you're going to review today and be curious about it. There's actually a game out there I'm curious about that I seem to not find anything about. Supposedly EA or some company came out with a game about your life as a cat, that you got to walk around and live your life as a cat, running around and whatever. I thought that'd be kind of neat. I mean, that's a kind of cool. That's definitely a different sim type game, you know. But there it is, another one right there, Sims. I've actually got a friend who has a YouTube channel that she plays Sims online, and that's all she does on it, on her YouTube, just Sims online, nothing else, no other games, no other stuff like that. That's it. So you know what? If you want to review games on YouTube, do it. Don't quit your day job yet, but you know what? Get started in it. Don't be afraid. If it works, excellent. Because you know what? In 10 years, you'll look back and say, you know, I wonder what could have happened if I had started my YouTube channel. You know, what would have happened if Mr. Beast sat there like you are right now 10 years ago? I'm sure you know who Mr. Beast is. I wonder what Mr. Beast would have done, where he'd be right now if he sat there and said, I think that might be pretty cool too, but I don't know. It might go up or down. And then he just never does anything with it. We wouldn't know who Mr. Beast is. In 10 years. Mimi King, will we know who you are? I hope so. I hope you two don't do that. And I hope you look me up in 10 years. But you know, the thing is that the version of yourself is sometimes scared to meet your future version. Well, good. I'm glad. Thank you. That's what I'm here for. Yeah, I've actually owned a whole bunch of businesses. I started internet service back in like early 1990s. Bought a pizza place. I worked for a railroad for a long time. Worked for Marshall Fields. Worked for Cintas. Worked owned a security company. Owned another internet company. Sold it all. Bought some land to build a campground, and then it burns down. Talking about my dream. My dream is a campground. My dream burnt down. And I went through some serious depression. We're talking depression of the highest caliber, where you're sitting in a garage with a car running and a bottle of pills in your hand type stuff. You know, it was bad type depression. Thankfully, I didn't have a bottle of pills or a garage, but you get my drift. What, sweetheart? What do you want? All right.
It's hot.
I'm busy. Okay. And so what happens is that we have to overcome those challenges. I ended up buying an office supply store, and built it up into the security camera business I have now, where we're nationwide. All right. Hey, Alicia. And the thing is that what if I had sat back 20 years ago and said, you know, that's it, game over. You never know where we'd be. See, that's the thing. A lot of people run from the task, run from the work that's involved, because sometimes they're just afraid of what could happen if they actually make it. And the thing is, if you don't quit, and this is the major secret, I'm going to, major secret. If you don't quit, you'll make it. But the underlying major secret to that is you got to start. You got to start. You got to take that first step. Because even Superman takes 2 or 3 steps before he jumps up and flies off and to save the world. Because you know what? When life hits you, and life is going to hit you, it's going to hit you hard. Yeah, I actually just talked at a TEDx stage this past weekend. That was phenomenal. But when life hits you, and it hits you hard, the question you have to ask yourself is not why me, but am I going to stay down or am I going to get up? Because usually when life hits you, when life comes after you, it's coming after you because of the fact you are on the cusp. You are right there on the edge of the next level. Your hand is literally on the door knob for the next room. To go to the next room, to go to the next room, next level. It's like playing video games. I'll be honest on this one here. All right? You're playing Super Mario Brothers. You're jumping across, jumping up and down, going into tubes, going out the tubes, jumping around. And every time you die, you start back at the new level. You keep starting at the new level, and you keep starting at the new level. And well, you know what? Most people say, hell with this. And they turn it off, and that's it, gone. They don't play a game anymore. But then there are the gamers that love the challenge. They keep going until they finally get to the end, and they try and jump up and grab that flag, and they come down. Da 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 da. And what happens? Next level. But in order to get to that flag, you've got to jump over mushrooms. You got to dodge flaming whatever. You got to dodge turtles. You got to jump over crevices. You got to try and jump over man-eating plants. You got a whole bunch of challenges to get over that are gonna grab you, stomp you, and stink you back to the level at the beginning of the level. Now the question is, are you one of those people that's going to turn your game off? Or are you going to try and keep going till you get to that flag, till you get to the next level? That's the good question. Because usually each hard level, the harder it gets, the better the flag. I think it is in Spider-Man, where Peter Parker's Uncle Ben, that's his name, Uncle Ben, says, with great power comes with great responsibility. I always kind of heard it, with great rewards come great risks. See, I'm the type of person that's always looked at it as, I would rather do the things that other people won't do in order to have the things that other people aren't going to have. Because not everybody out there is willing to try and work hard for their dreams. Not everybody out there is willing to try and put in the effort. Not everybody's willing to take that first step to start their business. Not everybody, and I'm guilty of this one. Not everybody's willing to take the first step to go to the doctor's office and find out what's wrong. I'm guilty. I'll admit to that. Well, I'm a guy, so if I ain't bleeding, then I'm okay, right? Yeah, says the bald-headed Fruit Loop. But it's not the case. See, what happens is fear is not always a warning sign of danger. Sometimes it's a signal. See, I'm going to say that again. Sometimes fear is not a warning. Sometimes fear is a signal. And when I say a signal, I mean, a signal for when something matters, when something important is going to happen, like something's going to stretch you. Like something might expose your potential. Do you realize so many people out there go around renting their potential instead of actually owning it? And when I say that, I mean that. People talk about wanting to start their own YouTube channels or start their own business, start their own real estate company, start their own Amazon drop shipping company. People are afraid to do it because not necessarily that they're afraid it's going to fail, but what happens if they get too busy and they can't handle it? That is a real fear. Back when I bought the computer store, we used to sell chips online, and it was actually a fluke. All right, I opened up an internet cafe because, well, I wanted to help the kids in my area. And so I had all these computers because I had a computer store. And I figured, well, you know what? Let's invite the kids in to play on them. What better way to get free advertising than have all the kids in the city play on my computers in my store? You know what? It worked beautifully because all the other competitors in town, all three of them went under. I'm actually living in the skeleton of the last one that died out in 2011. But we won't go down that road. But anyways, long story short, we got too many boxes of chips one time, and I joked with one of my employees, like, you know what, just eBay it. So we did, and it sold overnight. And we're like, what is this? So from that moment on, we started selling snacks on eBay. We ended up eBay power sellers. We got like gold and blue and red and platinum stars because of the fact we became eBay power sellers. Because we sold chips on the internet back in 2006. Nobody knew about this. Nobody thought about, hey, let's sell chips. Now you go to Amazon and it's everywhere. What a concept. But see, I got so busy doing it that I got scared and pulled the reins back. Instead of expanding, I pulled the reins back. And well, now we have Amazon that sells chips. Miles, welcome back, buddy. And so what happens is we get scared when something matters. We get scared when something's going to stretch you. We get scared when your potential is actually exposed and your greatness is there within reach, but you're scared of what is going to happen if you reach for it and you get it. Because once again, you are not scared of the task. You're scared of the identity shift. I'm actually almost done. I only go on for about a half hour every night, between 9 and 10 o'clock. So I'm actually, but I've got about another 5 minutes left. and and so what happens is people are afraid of the identity shift. They're afraid of the changes that are going to happen to them, because what happens if life gets so busy for them that they're unable to handle it? And so people tend to fall backwards and avoid stepping up. And that's the avoidance loop that's out there. You feel like you're called to do something. You feel like you're called to start a YouTube channel. You feel like you're called to start a business. You feel like you're called to go back to school. You feel like you're called to go to the gym and work out. You feel like you're called to try and start that book that you're going to write. You feel that you're called to do something. But then that little voice says, what if you fail? Boom. Instantly, you feel fear. Instantly. And what happens? Most of us try and avoid it. And that avoidance gives us that temporary relief. Like, oh, boy, I dodged that bullet, didn't I? Wow. Man, I almost had to do something. I almost had to change my life. I almost had to try and write a book. I almost had to go to start a new business. I almost had to. And then that avoidance builds your identity of wanting to avoid everything because it's a trickle-down effect. You avoid starting that book. You avoid starting that business. You avoid going to the gym. You avoid going for that job interview. You avoid going for this. And it slowly but surely gets down and down. You avoid talking to your spouse. You avoid talking to your girlfriend. You avoid talking to your kids. You end up locking yourself in your room, avoiding everybody. And then that identity becomes your limitation. And then you get depressed. And you get so depressed, you end up trying locking yourself in there even more. And you get upset because of the fact that you felt like you were called for something better. But you avoided it. Yeah. But you avoided it. And now you're upset at yourself for avoiding the first avoidance. And it's a horrible loop that gets built worse and worse and worse and worse until, well, until it feels like it's right. And then bad things happen. Exactly. See, a lot of people who are depressed admit that they're not depressed. You know, I suffer from depression. I actually take meds, unfortunately. But you know what? I go through that. I had a house fire back in 2000 where I lost everything. We're talking my house, my clothes. I was found half naked, barefoot in the snow a week before Christmas, watching my house burn down in my woods, my dream house. Watched as my dogs burned to death. Watched as everything that I ever owned, everything my mother and my grandmother ever left me, burnt in that house. Everything. And all I have left are like 2 books about attitude and mental mindsets. The mental mindset I actually have in my backpack from when I was at TEDx this weekend. So, oh no. But what happens though is that we do lock ourselves in our rooms, and sometimes we'll say we're not depressed, but somewhere inside of us there might be something underlying. You know. But you know what? My kids are out there torturing themselves. But but sorry, I'm losing it. Anyway, my son just got back from Taekwondo. He's a brown belt now, and he's he's out there torturing my my 9-year-old.
He's trying to put a lid on my head so he can turn me into a brisket.
Okay, all right, go. I'm trying to finish up my life, and take the cat with you too. Sorry about that. Anyways, but you know, and that is a good reason to lock yourself in a room too. Sometimes I forgot to lock the door. But anyways, we won't go down that road. Oh, but you know what? That's the thing though, is that we all avoid things at times because we're afraid of what could happen. And sometimes we're more focused on what could happen negatively as opposed to what could happen positively. You know, but the thing is that every calling, every dream that you have has 3 major traits. One, It feels bigger than you. It feels inconvenient, and it feels impossible until you start it. And expand on those a little bit. If your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. You know, and if you're able to get your dream easily, well, it's too easy. You got to grow into it, because dreams should feel impossible, because that's how you grow into them. Because what happens is your calling, your dreams, they're not supposed to be comfortable. They're supposed to be constructive. The process to get there is supposed to help you grow into it, to make you a better person, so that you can enjoy, so you can have it, so that you can try and teach others how to have it as well too. So one of the things that you can do is stop saying, why is it so hard? Why me? Why is it so hard to get my dreams? And realize that it's actually, what version of me is this trying to build? See, I've had multiple businesses. I've sold them. I've lost them. I've filed bankruptcy. All that stuff in the past. And the one thing that I constantly look at over those years is every business I've had, I've made a profit on, I've made a loss on. I've learned something from. And during that process, from all those different things that I've done, I've learned on. And that's where it's like, well, you know what? All of those things there are what's helping me build where I am now. When I had the internet service company, it was only localized to Chicago. Now, when I had the internet service company out here in Indiana, I was Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. Now I've got a security camera business that's Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Missouri, Iowa, Michigan, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Texas, and Minnesota, and Wisconsin. I keep forgetting about Wisconsin. That's because I hate Wisconsin, but we won't go down that route. But you know, that's the thing though, is that every time that I've failed, I've learned something to grow. And so you have to learn to start asking yourself, what version of me is this trying to build? You know, and so what happens is, the moment you stop running, the moment you turn around, the moment you face the thing that you've been avoiding, you activate a different future. Oh, they're all right. They're all right. Trust me, they'll be in here. If she was hurt, they'd be in here faster than that. Trust me on that one. Well, the cat's in here. You know, but the moment you stop avoiding the things that you're avoiding, you'll activate a different version of you. Because see, your calling isn't behind you. It's beside you. It's hand in hand with you. It's not someday. It's right there. It's disguised as a thing that you keep trying to run away from. And you know what? Each step is easy. You just got to name it, face it, and step into it. The storms that come, look right at it, head towards it, run into it, and run past it. You don't have to like the storm. You just have to outlast the storm. And so think of one thing that you've been avoiding, the one thing you've been postponing, the one thing you're scared to start, that YouTube channel, that real estate company. Yep. that oh, I can't remember it. Yeah, exactly. the drop shipping T-shirt business that you were talking about. Sorry, somebody on Instagram. See, that's not your enemy. That's your future. That's your opportunity to make a change in your life. So I want you to say this tonight to yourself as you're going to bed. I'm not running anymore. I'm going to answer myself. I'm going to step up. I'm going to become. I'm walking into what I'm built for. Because you know what? You've all withstood things that people don't know about. You've all owned your stories and your scars and things that people have never seen. Now it's time to believe in yourself and win in a way that nobody can understand. It's time to step up. Stop running from the things that you're scared of and reveal the strongest, loudest, undeniable version of you yet. Because I believe in you. Make your next move loudest one yet. Believe in yourself. Good night, everybody. Have a great one. Go get that YouTube channel started. Go get that real estate business started. Go start that book. Go to the gym. Go start following your dreams.